People always ask me how a woman retires at 59 on nothing but Social Security. And I understand the question, I really do, because for most of my life I'd have said it couldn't be done. And right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm sitting on a porch in a little beach town on an island in the Philippines, and the ocean is about 400 yards that way, going silver in the afternoon, and there's a breeze coming up off the water through the mango tree in my yard. And the thing that wakes me at 5 most mornings, before the light even comes up over the sea, is one stubborn question. How is this the same life? How did the same woman end up in both places? Because for most of my 59 years, I figured a woman like me was supposed to work until her body quit, and then make do quietly on whatever scraps were left. And I believed it so completely, it almost makes me angry now. So let me back up, because nothing makes sense if I just drop you in the middle. My name's Judy. I grew up outside Toledo, Ohio, the kind of place where the plants left and the whole town just held its breath for 30 years. My mother cleaned houses for the families up on the hill and came home with her hands cracked and red. I wasn't a good student, and I want to be honest about that, because people message me thinking you have to be somebody special to do what I did, and you don't. I spent 31 years working the deli counter, and then the front office at a grocery chain, slicing meat, running schedules, standing on concrete floors that ruined my feet and my back. I married Ray when I was 22. He drove a truck, and he had this quiet way about him, and the first time he made me laugh so hard, I cried. I think I just decided right then. We had one girl, Michelle, and the way our life worked never changed. He was on the road, I was on my feet, and we passed each other in the driveway, like two people running a relay that never ended. We were tired. Not dramatic, nobody starving, just tired, in this low background way for about 3 decades. And there was this word that ran through our whole marriage, the word someday. Someday, Judy, let's see a warm ocean, the kind with the blue water in the magazines. I used to clip pictures of beaches out of the magazines in the break room and keep them in a kitchen drawer, and Ray would tease me, planning a trip we'll never take, and I'd say, I'm keeping it ready. And I kept that dream ready, and he never got to spend it. Ray's heart gave out at 58, on the road, in a truck stop parking lot in Indiana. And that's where my whole story turns, so I need you to understand exactly what it did to me, and exactly what it left me. It left me 57 years old, alone in a house with a mortgage and about $19,000 to my name after we buried him. And it left me something else I didn't understand yet, which I'll get to, because it's the only reason I'm sitting on this porch. I found those beach clippings when I finally cleaned out the house. There's one in there that looks exactly, and I mean exactly, like the coast I can see from here. I've held them up side by side, and I've stopped trying to explain it. After Ray passed, I went back to that deli counter in 11 days because I didn't know what else to do with my hands. 57, 58. Michelle was grown and out in Phoenix with a little one of her own, and the house was enormous and silent, and I'd come home and sit at the same kitchen table where my mother used to rub lotion into her cracked hands and drink coffee with nobody in the house. And I'd do the math on that legal pad, and the math never worked. My feet were done, my back was done, and I was looking at 7 more years on that concrete floor before I could even touch retirement. Let me tell you what changed, because it's almost embarrassing how small it was. A woman I used to work with, Sandy, retired a couple years back, and she came through the store one afternoon, and she had this tan, this ridiculous February tan. And I said, Sandy, where on earth have you been? And she laughed and said, Judy, I live in the Philippines now. And I laughed too, like she'd said the moon. But she sat down and started telling me numbers, and she wasn't bragging, that's the thing. The good ones never sell you. She said her house near the water ran her about $300. She said a woman came and cleaned and did her laundry, and she paid her well, and it still came to less than her old cable bill. She said she saw the doctor whenever she wanted, for almost nothing. And then she said the thing I didn't know. She said, Judy, you're a widow. You don't have to wait till 62. And I said, what are you talking about? And she told me that a widow can start drawing survivor benefits on her husband's record at 60, that you take a cut for claiming early, a real cut, for the rest of your life. And every financial man alive will tell you don't do it. Wait, you're leaving money on the table. And they're right, if you've got money to live on while you wait. I didn't. I had a ruined back and $19,000. And something happened in my chest that night. I can only call the floor turning into a door. So here's exactly how a woman retires at 59. I put in my notice at 59, sold the house, and I lived on what was left of that money and the sale for the months until my 60th birthday. And the day I turned 60, I filed for raised survivor benefit, reduced permanently, and my check came out to a little under $1,300 a month. $1,300? In Toledo, that's rent and nothing. It's not a life. It's survival with the heat turned low. Here it's a life with room to spare. But hope is not the same as courage, and the courage took a while, because the second the sun went down, the reasonable voices came back, and they sounded like common sense. They sounded like my own father. You're a deli clerk from Toledo. You've never even had a passport. You don't know a soul over there. What happens when you fall and there's nobody to find you? What would Ray think? What would Michelle think? Spending what little he left you on a fool fantasy on the other side of the earth. I lived in that drawer a while, so I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking to the woman I was. What finally moved me was Michelle. I told her over a video call, sideways, like a joke, your old mum's been looking at the Philippines, and I braced for the worried look. Instead, she got quiet and said, Mum, when's the last time you sounded excited about anything? And I didn't have an answer. And then she said the thing that broke me. She said, I'd rather have a happy mum on a video call than a sad one down the street. So I got a passport at 59, never owned one in my life, held that blue book at the kitchen table like it was made of gold, the first document I'd ever had that wasn't a bill. And I did the research. Oh, I did the research. A paper notebook, because I'm that kind of woman. The Philippines has a proper retirement visa, the survey. And once you're 50 with a pension over $800 a month, you park a refundable deposit in an accredited bank and pay a small yearly fee, and you can stay for good. And a foreigner can't own the land here. You can own the house, but never the dirt under it. So I rent, and I wrote all of that down honest. Let me tell you the moment I knew. Sandy picked me up from the little airport, and it's hot and loud, and there are these little motorcycle taxis they call tricycles, buzzing everywhere like a swarm. And I'm jet-lagged and overwhelmed, thinking, what have you done, Judy? And we stop at a red light, and a little girl on the back of her father's motorbike, maybe 6, in her school uniform, looks over at this big, confused grey American woman and just waves, this enormous grin, like she's known me her whole life, and her father laughs and waves too, at a stranger, at a red light, and something in my chest that had been locked since Ray died came loose. Now let me give you the honest life I built, because anybody selling you only sunsets is selling you something. I rent a little concrete house, a short walk from the water, tile floors, big windows, a porch that runs the whole front, that mango tree, for the equivalent of about $350 a month. My electric's a bit more when I run the fans. Water's almost nothing. And there's a woman named Maribel who comes 4 mornings a week, and I have to talk about her right, because the whole idea of having a helper sat strange on the daughter of a cleaning lady. Maribel's 42, lives down the road with her husband and 3 kids, came to me through Sandy's helper because that's how everything works here, through somebody who knows somebody. The first morning I followed her around trying to help, grabbed the other end of the sheet, and she stopped and said, Mom Judy, this is my job. You are making it harder. And it hit me like a truck, because I watched my mother do that work for 30 years and come home with her hands cracked, and I know exactly what it feels like to be treated like you're invisible. So I made myself sit down, one of the hardest things I've done here. I pay her well above the going rate and a bonus at Christmas, and when her youngest needed an operation on his ear, I covered it, and it cost me about 1 old cable bill, and that money is putting her oldest through nursing school. My whole month, everything in, lands around $1,000, and that $1,300 check covers it with room left over. For the first time in my life, the money comes in faster than it goes out. Now the hard parts, straight. The heat in April sits on you like a wet blanket. The rainy season floods the roads. The power goes out. The paperwork tests your soul. And there are typhoons. My second year a big one came through, and I sat in the dark listening to that mango tree groan, thinking, "What have you done, you old fool?" Healthcare surprised me the good way. When I had a scare, a doctor saw me in 20 minutes, and the whole thing cost me less than an American copay. But for anything truly major, a lot of folks fly to Cebu or Manila, and you'd be a fool to ignore that at my age. And there's a loneliness that comes in waves. Nights on this beautiful porch as alone as I've ever been, missing Ray so bad I can't breathe. Because the view doesn't fix that. You bring your grief with you. It just gets to sit somewhere prettier. People ask if I have regrets. Taking that check early, taking the permanent cut, and I've got exactly one regret, and it isn't that. It's that I almost didn't. I want to reach back through time and grab that tired woman on the concrete floor with the ruined back and shake her and tell her the ocean doesn't check your pay stubs. It doesn't care that you sliced meat for 31 years. So if you're out there tonight, widowed or worn out or told to wait until 67 for a life you can't afford anyway, I'm just one woman on a porch. But I'll tell you what nobody told me. You're allowed. You're actually allowed to go. It's going gold over the water now. In a little while, Maribel's husband is going to putter by on his tricycle and honk hello, and Sandy's coming up for some of the adobo I learnt to make, and I'm going to sit here a while longer, in the life I almost talked myself out of. The deli clerk from Toledo, retired at 59 on a widow's check, looking out at the ocean Ray always wanted to see. "I carried you here," I tell him. "We finally got to our someday, and I promise you, whoever you are, you're allowed to go too."